delighted to be sitting here in the office of Cantor Sol Zims, or
Ooh.
as he is known now, Sol Zims,
Yes.
at his synagogue. And tell us the name of your synagogue?
The Hollis Hills Jewish Center.
The Hollis Hills Jewish Center in Queens, New York. And we'd like to know, to begin, how long have you been in the cantorate?
I would say about 50 to 53 years in that era. I started, my first position was a weekend position where I was in Temple Shalom in Westbury, and I was there for about 3.5 years, from 1959 or 60, so I don't know what that makes it, but 1960 I started there, and when I graduated, in 1964 I came to this congregation. And I've been here ever since, which makes it 48 years I've been here.
So you say when you graduated?
When I graduated from the Jewish Theological Seminary. And in my third year of school, Moshe Oisher was leaving the Stevensville Hotel up in the Catskills. And Oscar Julius called me, and he knew my abilities musically and chazanically. And he said, Saul, he used to actually call me Zimmy. Zimmy, I got a job for you for Passover. He says, and it's with my choir. It'll be at the Stevensville, and we'll have about a 15-piece choir, and you're going to be the chazan. I said, what does it pay? I'm getting married in about a year. I said, what is it? He said, fine, you'll get $1,800 for the first 2 days and last 2 days. I said, what? I was only making $3,500 on a weekend job. I said, great. I said, who was there before? Moshe Oisher. I said, are you kidding me? I said, how am I going to... I said, please, what are you, crazy? He said, Saul, I know you can do it.
So, you know, one of the questions that they like to ask is about, you know, describe what your cantorial style was, and you're mentioning some very different predecessors. Moshe Oisher, Pinchik, those are very different styles. What was your style like?
My style, actually, I believe that when you want to be a cantor, you have to make cantorial music your own. I teach cantorial, as you well know. I've put out my anthologies, which has cantorial, but I've minimized it in many ways, and making it much more palatable for the average cantor to be able to utilize, with very, very up-to-date arrangements. And my style, actually, in 1965, I studied with Cantor Moshe Kosovitsky. I believe you have to learn what you feel you want to start creating. And in order to really be a chazan, not a cantor, a chazan, you have to understand and create a style of your own, as you just suggested. Okay? My styling developed when I studied with Moshe and with David, and I learned there was a certain, I loved the elegance of that style. And when I studied with Moshe, I didn't want to study his compositions. I wanted to know how he thought, how he was able to improvise at the Amud. What he did on the pulpit to create that elegance that he had. And I used to go there for a 1-hour lesson, and I spent 4 to 5 hours with him. Because he wasn't teaching anybody, Moshe. He didn't teach anybody but my brother and myself.
So would you say that your responsibilities, like at this synagogue where you've been a long time, have your responsibilities changed, evolved over the years, or not really? No?
I came to the synagogue originally because when I came here, they used to have like about 50 bnei mitzvah a year. And I wasn't teaching them. They had a shamash. And the shamash, He not only taught B'nai Mitzvah, but he did all of the services. When I came here, I didn't have to teach B'nai Mitzvah. I didn't have to. The only thing I always had was choirs. I always had 3 choirs going. I had an adult choir of about 35. When I came here, Morris Barish was my conductor.
Wow.
And then after Barish left, I had Paul Kavon. After Paul Kavon, I had Mati Lazar. These were all for about 10 years each.
What change have you seen, in the American cantorate, and especially the Reform cantorate, over the last 60 years?
Okay. I will tell you that when I started, the cantor, in terms of leading the service, there have been changes in so many different areas. The cantor has become basically, in some cases, an assistant to the rabbi, and has become, meaning taking the position of almost shamash, but on a much higher level, meaning being educated in many different levels, meaning musically, meaning Hebraically, meaning doing pastoral work, even being able to deal with other situations when people have problems. They come to the cantor in many cases. That's one part. So there have been many different areas that it's changed, and it has changed on every single one of these levels. Okay.
But what do you hope that your colleagues would say about you today?
Well, I know what people say. Sol Zim is a showman. Well, I had to become a showman to do as many concerts as I do. But my passion is not being a showman. My passion is spreading my music that I know works so well on every level. Whether it's the folky style that I've written so much of, whether it's the Hasidic, real old Hasidic style, or whether it's the heavy chazanut, whether it's the real, as I call it,
Gladiator, chazanut.
I'll tell you, I look forward to the next number of years. I've lived a complete, full life of Jewish music, and as long as God gives me the ability, through my voice and ability to physically do my concerts, I will continue, because I enjoy that enormously. And I will also continue writing. These are the 2 things that I will never stop. And God bless you for giving me the opportunity to share these things with you.